What happens when a programmer's frozen head turns into humanity's last chance for survival? One heck of a ride. Welcome to Dro Talks. This is Dro, and here we're going to talk about the Bobiverse, a trilogy review for you. The Bobiverse is a sci-fi trilogy that blends AI, cloning, Van Neumann probes, a dystopian future, and a funny programmer at the center of it all. These books were written by Dennis E. Taylor and narrated by Ray Porter. The trilogy consists of 3 books, obviously, trilogy. We Are Legion, We Are Bob, We Are Many, and All These Worlds. Yes. For the less patient viewers out there, do I recommend, don't I recommend? For those of you that want to hang out and discuss this a little bit more, there won't be any spoilers. I'm going to tiptoe around the subjects, but try to give as best explanation of the story of this entire trilogy as I can. So with that said, let's move on to story. So Dennis E. Taylor crafted a story that revolves around Bob, or Robert Johansson, which is a programmer that sold software and became a millionaire. And he finds himself the victim of a traffic accident where, unfortunately, his life comes to an early end. Rest in peace, Bob. Lucky or unlucky for Bob, right before his death, he bought a type of insurance where he agreed to freeze his head in the event of his death. That way, in this future, this awesome future with technology rules everything, they could regrow his body and bring him back to life. What seems to Bob like an instant when he wakes up, actually 100 years passed. Behold the dystopian future. So you're fed a lot of this information as it's fed to Bob. The narration on this is it's through the lens of Bob. So basically, Bob ends up becoming an AI, where his brain was kind of dissected, his consciousness was then transferred into a computer program, and he's put to use so the US of A can start colonizing planets in a sort of space race against other superpowers in this dystopian future. So a lot of other AIs came to be around the same time, and most of them fell because they go insane. But Bob, due to his demeanor, he's kind of like an introvert. He's well on his own, and he's a programmer, very logical. He handles it. So that is the beginning of the story. That's the beginning of We Are Legion, We Are Bob. Bob adapts to this new AI amazingly. Like I said, he creates these virtual environments, and he actually thrives. During this first novel, it's really focused on space exploration, Bob's relationship as it evolves with humanity, with extraterrestrial life, as he sets to look for these new planets for humanity to begin to exploit. So the Heaven vessel is basically a Von Neumann probe, and as it goes out, its function is to self-replicate using basically a 3D printer. Hashtag 3D printer. So as Bob gets to his first destination, he has to clone himself to continue this Von Neumann probe expansion. And he clones himself 5 times, I believe. The first Bobs, and they're all given some pretty awesome names. There's a couple of things about this book that I really like. The one is the naming convention. There's a lot of acronyms to technologies that the Bobs create during their travels. The names that the Bobs themselves are given are awesome. The names that they give the planets are awesome. The acronyms to the technology that they make are awesome. So big props to Dennis E. Taylor here and just his naming convention. He is a naming genius. So if you have a kid and you can't figure out what to name him, contact Dennis E. Taylor. Say, hey Dennis, what name should I give my kid? And you will not be disappointed because he's got names on point. Really, the story is just about Bob traversing space, looking for new points. There's obstacles along the way. Some of his clones venture out, and some of his clones venture backwards, back to Earth. And we get a glimpse of what happened to Earth after Bob left. And the dystopian future even got more dystopian because stuff happened. And now Bob becomes humanity's last hope. So we continue on the second book, We Are Many. And this basically just continues Bob's journey and his clone's journey on their space adventures as his clones begin to make clones, as Bob himself begins to make more clones. They continue the story, the development of how Bob and his clones interact with not only humankind but the other extraterrestrial beings that they found along the way that they start terraforming, how they start transferring humanity to some of these planets, the obstacles that those humans face, and the relationship with the Bobs, how the Bobs evolve, how they diverge, and they truly become individuals. So when Bob makes a clone, they have all the same memories up until the point when the clone was made, but from that point on, they right away start diverging. They tend to have shared traits heavier in different elements of Bob 1.0's original personality. That in itself is very interesting. Having basically talking with yourself or talking with several of yourselves and having each of them have the same experiences as you, but at the same time, them being different individuals. And then we end the book with all these worlds. And the conclusion to all those loose ends, most of those loose ends actually, because a couple of them remained kind of open-ended. They are resolved to an extent. I believe this was done intentionally because there's more likely going to be more Bob books. But for the most part, all the loose ends do culminate and end nice and tidy. It's a very funny, light-hearted sci-fi journey. And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. There is a good climax. I think the climax could have been better. But it was good. It was satisfying. So in summary, what would I give story? I would give the story a 4 out of 5. So let's move on to narration. Ray Porter. Ray Porter gives an outstanding performance, which I think is difficult because he's playing the same character several different ways. And I never really had any issue which Bob was talking. I don't know if that's due to Ray Porter's talent, if it's due to the way Dennis E. Taylor wrote the characters, or a combination of the two. But I never got confused. I knew exactly which Bob was talking. When I first started listening to this book, I guess I will give this little warning. Dennis E. Taylor, he has sort of a bland style. And I thought I wasn't going to enjoy it at first. But that bland style mixes very well with the character of Bob, who's an introverted computer programmer, project planner. The way he hits the jokes, again, a combination of the delivery that Ray Porter gives and the writing styles of Dennis E. Taylor, it hits the nail on the head. The mix of these two was just perfect. And that is why I would give Ray Porter a 5 out of 5. So listenability. Would I listen to this trilogy again? Well, the answer is yes. I've actually already listened to this trilogy twice. I'm probably going to listen to it one more time this year just because it's such a fun story to listen to. It's a fantastical, thought-provoking story. It's funny, even though it shouldn't be funny and it shouldn't be lighthearted. There's some serious drama going on here. Some kind of disturbing questions that it does raise, but it's delivered well, and I can't help but to enjoy it. And that for that reason alone, I would give listenability a 5 out of 5. So, have you listened to the Bobiverse? If so, what did you think about it? What was the most thought-provoking aspect of this book to you? Comment below. Let me know. This has been Dro Talks. As always, thank you for listening. For those of you that constantly view my content, thank you so much for coming back. Very much appreciated. If you do like it, please share with your friends, share with your enemies, just share with everybody. For those of you new to Dro Talks, and if you did like it, hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that bell to get notified. And for all of you, we'll see you next time.